Okay, let's unpack this. Picture this scenario. It's 2026. You've been planning this trip for months, maybe even years. You want to see the Rockies, visit a cousin in Toronto for their wedding. Maybe you have a big business conference in Vancouver.
A classic Canadian trip.
Exactly. You have the money saved, your passport's ready, and you think, great, I'll just fill out a form online, pay a fee, and I'm on my way.
And that expectation is exactly where thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people are hitting a brick wall right now.
It really feels like the untold story of travel this year. We're looking at a massive stack of documents today, government reports, legal analysis, the latest data, and they all paint a pretty intense picture.
It's not a simple process anymore.
No, it's less of a form-filling exercise and more of a strategic gauntlet.
It's a good way to put it. I mean, if we look at the data, refusal rates for what's called a TRV, that's a temporary resident visa, are at an all-time high.
So the door to the Great White North is harder to open.
Much harder. The days of submitting a generic application and just expecting a stamp in your passport are, well, they're over. If you just check the boxes and hit submit, you're gambling.
And the odds are not good. It sounds like immigration officers are scrutinizing every single detail.
Precisely. And that's really why we're doing this deep dive. Our mission today is to dissect why this is all happening.
We want to get past the paperwork and into the psychology of the application.
Yes. There is a roadmap to entry, but you have to know how to read it.
So let's start with the absolute basics. Who even needs to worry about this? Because my cousin from London just, hops on a plane. She doesn't talk about strategic gauntlets.
Right. So Canada divides the world into two lists: visa exempt and visa required. It's that simple.
Okay.
Your cousin from London or someone from France, Australia, Japan, they're from visa exempt countries. They just need something called an ETA.
An electronic travel authorization. That's the cheap one, right?
Yeah, very cheap. It's about $7 linked to your passport, and it's usually approved in minutes. It's almost automatic.
$7? That sounds nice. But that is not the group facing these crazy refusal rates you're seeing.
No, not at all. The real challenge, and the focus of our stack today, is for the visa-required countries.
So we're talking about places like India, China, Nigeria, the Philippines.
Exactly. Brazil and many others. For them, the ETA is not an option. They need the full TRV, the visitor visa.
And the price tag is a bit different.
Significantly. The base fee is $100 Canadian per person. For a family, it maxes out at $500, but that's just the start.
Right. Then there's the biometrics fee.
Another $85.
Yeah.
And that's for the fingerprinting and the photo.
And you can't do that from your couch. You have to physically go to a visa application center, a VAC.
Correct. Which might mean traveling to a whole other city just for that appointment. It's a whole process.
So we have the costs, the logistics, creating the online account, the questionnaire. But this is where I found the research got really interesting. It's about how these decisions are being made now.
Ah, yes.
It's not just a person in an office anymore, is it?
No. This is the real game changer for 2026. IRCC, that's Canadian Immigration, is heavily using AI tools. One of the main ones is called Chinook.
Chinook? Like the wind.
It's anything but gentle. It's an efficiency tool. It helps officers process applications way faster. We're seeing times between 14 and 60 days. But here's the double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It extracts key data points from your application and, well, it presents them in a spreadsheet-style view to the officer.
Wait, so instead of a human reading your whole story first, you get stripped down to rows on an Excel sheet.
That's a great way to put it. It aggregates the data.
Yeah.
The officer then often makes a decision on a whole batch of applications at once. So if your profile fits a refusal pattern, you could be rejected in minutes.
It's terrifying. It means your application doesn't just need to be accurate, it needs to be AI-proof.
It has to be. You have to signal low risk to both an algorithm and a human. You can't rely on the benefit of the doubt anymore.
Which brings us to the biggest reason people get refused. I assumed it was criminal records or not having enough money, but it's this phrase, Section 179B.
Ah, Section 179B, the most dreaded part of any refusal letter.
What does it actually mean in plain English?
It all boils down to one thing: temporary intent. The burden of proof is completely on you to prove that you will leave Canada at the end of your trip.
You have to prove you're not going to overstay.
Right. And this leads to what we call the family paradox, and it catches so many people out.
Unpack that for me, because having family in Canada sounds like a good thing, right? I have a place to stay.
That's what everyone thinks. But from the officer's perspective, and the AI's strong ties to Canada can actually hurt you.
How is that possible? That seems so backward.
Because it's a pull factor. If your ties to Canada are strong, but your ties to your home country are weak, the officer starts to wonder, why would you leave?
Ah, I see. You have a support network there, a reason to stay.
Exactly. So let's say you're 25, single, you rent your apartment, you don't have a permanent job, but your entire family lives in Canada.
You're a huge red flag.
You're a prime candidate for a 179B refusal. The officer's thinking, what's bringing this person home? There's nothing there, but everything's here.
That makes a kind of cold, logical sense.
Yeah.
So how do you fight that? How do you prove you are going back?
You have to build a powerful case for your ties to home. This is all about evidence. Anchors.
Okay, so what's a good anchor?
A steady job is huge, but not just a pay stub. You need a letter from your employer saying, yes, they work here, and we expect them back on this specific date.
So your boss is vouching for you.
Exactly. Owning property is another big one. A house, land, a business, things you're not likely to just abandon.
And family.
Family dependence back home. If you're leaving a spouse and kids behind to travel alone, that's a very powerful sign that you'll return.
It's like a balancing scale. The home side has to be much heavier than the Canada side.
Perfect analogy. And you can't just rely on the forms to show this. This is where the letter of explanation, the LOE, comes in.
This is where you get to tell your story.
Yes. Don't just upload the minimum. The LOE connects the dots. You explain why you're visiting, why you must return, and you point to the evidence. You never want the officer or the software to guess your narrative.
Don't make them guess. That's a great rule. Okay, let's talk about the other big one, money.
Financial stability, it's non-negotiable.
Is there a magic number? How much do you actually need in the bank?
The government doesn't publish a magic number because every trip is different. But there's a very solid rule of thumb in the legal community.
Which is?
Aim for about 1,000 to 1,500 Canadian dollars for every month you plan to stay, plus the flight home.
So if you're coming for the full 6 months, you need a decent chunk of change sitting there, maybe 10 grand.
Easily. But here's the trap. Let's say you're a bit short, so your dad transfers you $5,000 the week before you apply.
That looks good, right? My balance is healthy.
Laughs. That is the classic borrowed money red flag. It's a huge trap.
So they see that big sudden deposit and get suspicious.
Immediately. They assume it's not really your money, that you just borrowed it to inflate your account for the application. It destroys your credibility.
So what's the solution?
History. You need to show 4 to 6 months of steady banking history. They want to see your salary coming in, your bills going out, and a stable growing balance.
So print the whole history, not just the final page.
Exactly. And combine it all into one clear PDF. Make it easy for them.
What if my uncle in Montreal really is paying for my trip?
That's fine. But the burden of proof just shifts to him. He needs to write a letter of invitation, and he has to back it up with his own financial proof.
So he has to show his pay stubs, his tax documents.
Yes. He has to prove he can actually support you. It all comes back to credibility and making sure you won't need to work illegally.
Okay, intent to return, check. Money, check. What about the purpose of the visit itself? I feel like people just write tourism.
And tourism is a weak answer. Specificity wins every time.
The sources mention that visiting a friend for 4 months with no real plan looks suspicious.
It does. It's vague, and vague is your enemy. If you say tourism, then show a plan. Hotel bookings and itinerary. Day 1, CN Tower. Day 2, Niagara Falls.
Even if the bookings are refundable.
Even then. It shows you've thought about it, shows intent, and if it's a family visit,
Tie it to an event.
a wedding, a graduation, the birth of a grandchild, something with a start and an end date. It reinforces that the trip is temporary. I'm coming for the wedding, and then I'm leaving. It's so much stronger.
It anchors the visit. That makes total sense. And of course, there are the baselines.
Admissibility, clean criminal record, good health. If you're staying over 6 months, you'll likely need a full medical exam.
Just another fee, another appointment.
Another hoop to jump through.
Okay, I want to pivot to a couple of the special pathways. There's one called the Super Visa, which sounds like something out of a comic book.
It's a real game changer for parents and grandparents of Canadians.
Yeah.
A standard visitor visa is usually for 6 months.
Right.
The Super Visa lets them stay for up to 5 years at a time.
5 years. Wow. That's basically living here. That's helping raise the grandkids.
It is. It's huge for families. But there are a couple of big catches. The child in Canada has to meet a minimum income level. And the big one is insurance.
Medical insurance.
Yes, the parent or grandparent must have at least $100,000 in private Canadian medical insurance, paid for upfront.
And for an older parent, that must be expensive.
It can be thousands of dollars a year. It's mandatory because they aren't covered by Canada's public health care.
Okay. Now, the other term I saw was dual intents. This one kind of blew my mind.
This is a more advanced legal strategy. A lot of people think, I've applied for permanent residence, so I can't apply for a visitor visa. They'll know I want to stay forever.
Which makes sense. You've literally told them you want to move there.
Exactly. But Canadian law explicitly allows for dual intent. You can have the long-term goal of becoming a permanent resident while also having a short-term intent to be a temporary visitor.
That feels like a mental pretzel. I want to live here forever, but I promise I'll leave in 6 months if you tell me to.
It's a delicate balance. The key is proving that if your permanent residence application is refused, you will still respect the rules and leave when your visitor status expires.
So you're not saying I'm staying no matter what?
You're saying, I hope to stay permanently, but I am committed to following the temporary resident laws in the meantime. You have to address it head-on in your letter of explanation.
Okay, let's hit some common pitfalls before we wrap up. A big one. Can I look for a job while I'm visiting?
The answer is a careful yes and no. You can look for a job, you can network, send out resumes, even do an interview.
So the hustle is allowed?
The hustle is allowed. The work is not. You absolutely cannot perform any labor for pay. No trial shift. You can't start until you have a valid work permit.
Which isn't easy to get from inside Canada anymore.
No, the rules have tightened. So look, but don't plan on starting next Monday.
What if I'm just having a great time and want to stay longer than the initial 6 months?
You can apply for an extension. It's called a visitor record. But you have to apply at least 30 days before your current status expires.
Do not let it lapse.
Never. If you overstay by even 1 day, you're out of status. It's a black mark on your record forever.
And speaking of black marks, the cost of failure. I think some people treat this like a lottery ticket. Oh, I'll just try again.
That is the most dangerous mindset.
Uh-huh.
A visa refusal is not a lottery ticket. It is a permanent legal record.
It sticks with you.
Forever. And Canada shares immigration data with the US, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand.
So a sloppy application to visit Toronto could hurt my chances of going to Sydney 5 years from now.
Absolutely. That question, have you ever been refused a visa for any country, is on almost every application worldwide. If you have to check yes, you're starting from behind.
That's really sobering. You can't just wing it.
The first application can't be a draft. It has to be decision ready. If your case isn't strong yet, wait. Don't create a record of failure you have to fight against later.
Decision ready. I like that. So let's bring this all together. What's the big takeaway?
The Canadian visitor visa is a test. It's a test of your credibility, your financial stability, and most importantly, the strength of your ties to your life back home.
It's storytelling with evidence.
Yes. You're building a case that makes it easy for the officer or the AI to just say yes. You're removing all doubt before it can even form.
And if we zoom out, what does this say about global mobility in 2026?
It shows that borders are becoming these digital fortresses. They're more efficient, sure, but they're also much harder to cross without the perfect key.
And that key is a perfectly documented life.
That is.
It really makes you think. We talk about Canada as a welcoming country, but if an AI is the first gatekeeper, deciding who gets to visit based on data patterns, how does that change things? It feels like only the perfectly documented get to see the world.
It raises some really big questions about fairness and access in this new era.
Something to think about next time you're filling out a web form. Thank you for walking us through this maze.
My pleasure.
And thank you for listening to The Deep Dive. Check your documents twice, and we'll catch you on the next one.